welcome back to the channel. Gonna be a pretty short one tonight, but I guess two big stories we do want to go over, and one of those, of course, is the ongoing saga around Joshua Zirkzee. Now, this deal does seem to be edging closer, according to a lot of the British press, a lot of people who maybe we're not going to put in a tier one, but certainly, look, if they speak, we have a listen and we kind of see what's going on. We got Sky Sports Set talking about it. We have Jack Talbot was talking about it as well. United Stand had something on it, and there was also an article from the Daily Mail, possibly from Jason Burt, on says story. So an interesting one, Joshua Zirkzee, very, very different profile to what we have at the minute. And look, I think this deal is probably going to happen. I think it does look like we're really going for him. It's the striking signing. The stars are kind of aligning. The deal can't seem to be done with AC Milan to get him over the line, and it does look like United are starting to make up ground in this one. And look, I don't think anything happens before the 1st of July, so maybe we're talking another 4 or 5 days at this point. But with the Netherlands facing a pretty tough draw in the European Championships, with their poor form, he could end up going home pretty early, and it does look like we will be going in for Joshua Zirkzee. Now, an interesting player. I'll probably do a video on him maybe this week. We'll get some notes and stuff took down tonight and maybe have a bit of a deep dive into him. But I do like the player. I think he's got positives. I think he's got negatives, yes. But I think, it's a different profile. He comes in, he links up the forward line, probably gets more out of your Garnachos, your Rashfords, your Amad Diallos, potentially your Bruno Fernandes. He could link up well with them, but it all depends. He needs players running onto things. He needs to see players getting in and around him to be really effective. Don't expect him to be holding the ball up and running beyond the last line. Don't expect him to be like a target man type signing, even though he is quite tall. But certainly, look, I think he's an interesting proposition. I think he's an interesting player, and I think you could do a lot worse than him anyway. I have a couple of people in the comments I want to give a quick shout out to. Big ups to Stephanie, Nubis, and Bart. Good to see you guys in the chat as always. And yes, Bart, I am on the agenda later on tonight. We'll be talking, well, whatever those guys want to talk about. Probably going to be Portugal, probably some England as well, after last night's showing. But an interesting one with Zirkzee. Does look like things are getting closer. Sky Sports have said it's edging forward. That seems to be a pretty significant one. Sky Sports have been pretty slow on things before in the past, so let's hope that maybe the deal's more advanced than what they're letting on. There was talk about the players' agents demanding fees coming down from what started off at 15 million down to 8 million, so that's starting to get to more doable territory for Manchester United, and I think he's an exciting player. He's definitely someone who we do seem to be pushing hard for. Ben Jacobs as well saying Zirkzee's agent Kia Jorbakan is requesting around £8 million in commission, but that is down from 15 million that was being talked about with AC Milan. So I think, look, this is a deal that could be done pretty soon. I think this is a deal we would expect to get done at this point. And yeah, look, I think we need a strike and sign, and I think Zirkzee comes in, different option. Is he absolutely what we need? Is he the absolute best striker we could possibly get? Probably not. When you look at our budget of around 40 million euros, 35, 40 million pounds maybe, I think that's probably about bang right. Because look, it's like I said last night, we are at the minute a sinking ship. We got a lot of holes to fill, and we can't just spend all the time filling in one hole completely. We're going to have to, unfortunately, try to cover ourselves as much as possible, plug as much holes as we can before we really start to go looking for the big signings in the market. So do expect a Zirkzee type signing. Maybe Ugarte on a loan could be another one we talked about last night that might seem to have some more legs in it. Does look like PSG value him at 50 million, but they're a lot more willing to let him go out on loan, and that could be a way forward for United in this deal. Loan to buy might be the plan from United, but let's just see how everything unfolds. Zirkzee does seem to be moving forward. It does seem to be getting closer. Ben Jacobs again, United are in advanced talks with Joshua Zirkzee's representatives. We know he's got a buyout clause that kicks in on the 1st of July. Everything is starting to align. You want to get your deal agreed with the player and the agent beforehand, then we go in, pay the release clause, and hopefully that there will be the deal done in that case. So a couple of other stories in terms of transfers. Look, we had talked to Lenny Yoro. Does look like he's going to go to Real Madrid, unfortunately. Ugarte is another one that seems to be building up in terms of momentum in the last 24, 48 hours. And there's a heap more players as well. Everton allegedly not feeling the pressure to sell Brandtwaite. I don't know about that. We'll see on this here one. Daz Waits is down there. Isn't a completely new stadium? Then it Oh, yes, that's on a different story. So the other story we are talking about tonight is coming from The Athletic. Adam Crafton has said United will not rule out and are strongly considering getting sponsorship for a potentially new stadium name. So I guess, look, the upshot of that story is we're not going to be renaming Old Trafford as it is now, but there's a potential, if we opt to build a new stadium, which I think we might do, that we could end up with a sponsorship name for it. There was a lot of different talks in there from different potential sponsors. Bank of America talked about as one. You might even see INEOS sponsoring their own stadium to put some money into the club. That's another possibility that you might see. I guess, look, it all comes down to what we're going to do with our stadium. Do we build a new stadium? Do we not have a new stadium? I'm not too sure, That's expected to be done within the next couple of months, our final decision, and we'll start building towards whatever we're doing in 2025. Somehow we are almost into the second half of the year, and already kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, look, that's an interesting one. It's one of those. It's like we don't actually train at Carrington anymore. It's called the Aon Training Camp, or the Aon Training Complex. It's one of those air ones. Like, we're not actually going to be calling it anything other than what it's already been known as. So it might already just be known as Old Trafford, regardless. But yeah, look, it's an interesting one. Personally, I like the idea of United always playing at Old Trafford, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in this here one. It might be one of these things that it's taken for economic reasons for the club, to try up the revenue, up the income, and try to pay the stadium off, because that's going to be a big bill as well. So that's definitely going to be part of the club's thinking, is trying to pay off the stadium if we do choose to build a new stadium. I think if we end up staying at the current site, then I couldn't see us renaming Old Trafford as it is. I can't see that stadium that has been our home for so many years being called anything other than Old Trafford. But it all comes down to, a lot of people think differently. A lot of people think that if we build a new stadium, then we're not at Old Trafford. And a lot of people say if it's in the same place and United's playing there in the exact same spot, then it is Old Trafford. Regardless, it all comes down to these here kind of interesting thoughts and arguments. Guys, drop a like on the video. Make sure to vote on today's poll as well. I've got a couple of comments down below. I want to go through some of these. INEOS has some funny news. Al Hilal are interested in selling Alejandro Garnacho. Yeah, look, they can have all the interest they want. There's nothing stopping these guys being interested in our players. They can be interested, but I would be very, 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 very surprised if United wanted to sell Garnacho, and I would be even more surprised if Garnacho wanted to move to the Saudi Pro League at his age. There's absolutely no chance of that happening, guys. Steph's done there, 15 likes and 23 watching. Yes, guys, drop a like on the video. We've got 16 there. Let's see. Bart said Standard Chartered is a better sponsor for United than Bank of America. All depends, man. I don't know who will end up going to. Bank of America is just one that I remember off the top of my head from the heaps of investment corporations and different sponsorships we maybe could have or could look at. Bart as well, it's in the Etihad Training Complex. Carrington has a nickname to it as well. Yeah, I can't see that going to happen, buddy, to be honest. Anyway, look, on the poll, early doors yet, but of course you guys have been voting as always. We got 78% saying it should always be Old Trafford. I think that's the expectation that most of us are going to go with. And look, I can't really disagree with that there one either. I really think, like, yeah, it's Old Trafford. It's always going to be Old Trafford to me, and to many other fans. But it's an interesting discussion. I guess it's one that we do have to talk about as well. We have a small story as well. I want to bring you guys coming in from Luca Bendoni, who works for DiMarzio. So somewhat reliable, not Romano level reliable, but it's worth a look at potentially. United have inquired about Switzerland international Dan N'Doye from Bologna after his goal from Germany. Against Germany. United are thought to be actively monitoring the winger, who has already played for INEOS Group Club, Nice and Lausanne as well. So he's worked with INEOS before. There is that relationship. Could we end up bringing him in? I don't know. I mean, I don't think N'Doye would be one of those players that we really would be going after, but I feel like if we're already talking to Bologna, there might be an interest in that player, and definitely does look like we're talking to Joshua Zirkzee's representatives. That does seem to be moving on. Bart said Old Trafford shouldn't be named just like San Siro and Anfield. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't see Real Madrid changing the name of their stadium. Ultimately, Barcelona are going to be playing at the Spotify Camp Nou, but it's always going to be known as the Camp Nou. So who knows what's going to happen with it in this here one. Look, it's one of these things. I guess, we're just going to have to wait and find out on. It's one of these things that will develop. John Casey's down there. Old Trafford's an iconic stadium. I would renovate it. No way would I build a new stadium. I would agree. Look, I think in order of preference, because I think everybody can agree that the stadium needs a lot of work. You know, we have our owner joking about having the third biggest waterfall in the UK. You know, we need a new stadium. Okay, we do need a new stadium, but to me, a new stadium can be many things. You know, you would probably count the Bernabeu as a new stadium, even though it's the same stadium in the same spot. You know, the amount of work they've done to it, they've completely stripped it to the bones and they've rebuilt it. And it's a modern super stadium for this day and age. Is Old Trafford too far behind? I don't know. I'm not too intimately aware with the situation with Real Madrid fans and their experience at the Bernabeu, but I think there's enough to work with there. It's my personal belief that we're going to end up with a new stadium. I think that suits the city of Manchester better. I think they're more likely to get funding for that from other resources. And all these talks about, you know, that entire area, the old industrial estate, the wharf, as you will, being completely redeveloped, new houses and all that stuff going in. You know, that could potentially be something that we do see in the future. But for me, I would prefer to stay where we are, renovate what we have, and you know, make it better, because you know we have the bones of an iconic stadium. It's fallen into disrepair. It isn't where it used to be. It used to be the best stadium in the world, best stadium in the land 20 years ago, hosting Champions League finals. Been a long, long way since that there time. So look, to me, big work's needed. It depends on feasibility. Have a sneaking suspicion we're going to pull a new stadium card anyway. That's just my gut feeling reading into it. But look, anything could happen. You know, we could end up just renovating what we have there, you know, being deemed too good to leave, too iconic to leave. Bart's in there. What do you want United to play if Old Trafford's been refurbished or demolished? Anfield, Etihad? I don't know, man. Like, because of that there, you'll probably be in a situation where you need to find somewhere to play. Ideally, I will say, if United did have a new stadium being built, we stay in Old Trafford until it's done. You know, kind of the way Everton are working at the minute with their stadium. There was someone a while ago said St Helens rugby stadium could be a decent option, but I don't know. Who am I to say? I'm not an architect. I'm not a designer or anything like that. So, anyways, certainly, look, it's an interesting couple of days for United. I guess everything's kind of been overshadowed by the Euros, but with tonight being the last group match, you know, the tournament's starting to wind down as less matches become more important. You might potentially see more stories coming out about different players we're interested in, different plans we've got, because there's not as much to cover for mainline press. And look, they're always looking the story. They'll always focus on where they think they can get the best stories from. So it's one of those there ones. Bart's in there. So I've seen Bart's comment. Oh, are they happy no one's bringing Southgate? Yeah, I mean, having watched England the last 3 matches plus their 2 friendlies before that, it's not impressive for me. Gareth Southgate really isn't. But it's one of those. I'm glad it hasn't happened. You know, this style of football isn't what I want to see from a potential United manager, and I'm glad that deal isn't happening. You know, there does seem to be big issues with Southgate. And the tactics and the style of football at England, and it's just it's just not good. Like, you know, watching it every single night, because I do make an effort to watch the England games just because we know more of the players, and you know, it's gonna be talked about more. There's more stakes in it, but I don't know. It's an interesting one anyway, guys. It is an interesting one anyway. Drop a like on the video if you can, guys. I guess we'll get talking a little bit about the Euros. We've got 21 likes in the video as well. Big ups for that there one. Much appreciated as always, guys. Bart, United were linked to a Bologna centre back. Yeah, Calafiori, very good player. Very good player. Would absolutely love to see him at Manchester United if that is a possibility to happen. But I don't know. Anything could happen. Anything might happen with it. But I would be surprised if he's brought in this summer. You know, I think there's a real good player in there, but I can't see Bologna selling all their best players. You know, Zirkzee leaves, that's a big loss. If we're talking about Ndoye as well, that could be a potential big loss. So for me, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see that there. But I do like Calafiori, and maybe, you know, if Branthwaite's not a possibility, maybe we bring him in at that point. But who knows? And look, anything could happen. Anything might happen. It's one of those stories that's just going to progress, I guess, as the summer goes on. But look, a couple of things I did want to touch on as well. There's some quotes from Cobby Mino. Decent interview. Would recommend anyone go and check it out. Cobby speaks very well as expected in it. But I guess, you know, moving forward and moving into the transfer window, because things will start to pick up. Things will start to make the moves towards the transfers sooner rather than later. And I guess 1st of July is going to be the turning point, because that's hopefully when we can start to really throw a bit of money around and really start to spend some cash. That does seem to be consensus amongst most of the football analysts and a lot of the journalists, is that United on the 1st of July, when the season resets and the new season officially begins, that could happen. Ronnie says, no news about PSG going to sign Rashford. There was talk about that, Ronnie, yeah. So the story with Rashford and PSG has been pretty long. And it does seem to happen every couple of seasons. Maybe you see more of an impetus from PSG now that Mbappe is gone, but I don't know. You're not born in Manchester, not a real fan, are you? I mean, you can think what you think, man. Like, but it is what it is. Like, you know, I've I've been enough times, and ever since I can remember first watching football, I've supported United. Like, so is what it is. I mean, if you're not a fan after what, like 21 years of watching, haven't been to Old Trafford, I don't even know, maybe like 30, 40 times. Okay. Believe that, going to say it. Anyways, guys, drop a like on the video if you guys can. I think we're up to 21 likes as well. I guess tonight's Euros matches will be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing them anyway, guys. Yeah, that's a good point from Bart there as well. Fergie was, what, Glaswegian? So there you have it. But yeah, look, tonight's football is going to be an interesting one. We've got Portugal playing Georgia. A lot of rotation in that match as well. A lot of changes for them going into that there. When I'm surprised at that as well. You know, Ronaldo's playing, yeah. No Bruno tonight for them. Yao Felix starting. Is that going to be the match we're watching? Will we maybe go for Czech versus Turkey? Anything's, you know, anything I guess is possible. And Georgia played pretty decent football, to be honest. And they've got an outside shot of making it through. They're going to have to win that match, but I don't know. Shall be interesting, irregardless of that. What are we talking about? We're talking about the weather as well, guys. I'm absolutely dying of hate. Like, it's so warm and clammy in Northern Ireland, really is. Has been for a while, but especially the last couple of days hasn't been good. But anyways, look, I'm looking forward to being on the agenda tonight. I'm hoping you guys can join me bath time and a Monday on there. We'll have another quick look for any of the later updates. I was expecting to see something pop up. Surprised that I haven't quite got that yet. I guess, look, another news, if we want to touch on what we were saying last night, Ugarte does seem to be a player that we're maybe being linked to. I don't think it's necessarily an ironclad case that he's going to be brought in. You know, there's potential there. Steph says Vitinha player of the tournament for me. Vitinha's a very good player. Very, very good player. You know, I've been impressed with Vitinha since he went to PSG. You know, he looked pretty decent at Wolves. Looked like a pretty good player, but you know, really kicked on to a different level. Very good on the ball. Very, very all-action midfielder. Can do an awful lot on the pitch as well. Any comments on Brighton's manager? He's 31, only 4 years older than me, but more importantly, hasn't managed in the top flight. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, it all kind of started to go well still, but a lot of these guys are very, very young coming in. And look, I don't doubt Brighton. Like, they might have found the perfect guy for themselves with you know, they might have found the absolute perfect manager for themselves. I'm not too sure. You know, I'm not sure. We'll find out on that one as time goes on, I guess. But who knows? Anyway, Vitinha scored by Luis Campos. That man was rumored to be United's director of football. Yeah, you know, I don't think necessarily signing a player who looked pretty decent for Wolves was like a masterstroke, but he's definitely took the step up and took it into his stride. So, you know, fair play to Vitinha. Very important player for Portugal. Really good energy in the middle of the pitch. Very touting the ball. And I enjoy watching him play. I think he's playing tonight as well. So maybe one to keep an eye out for. Couple of interesting players in that Portugal 11, I guess. Obviously, Ronaldo starts. No doubt about that. But I mean, be interesting to see João Neves getting his first start. That'll be an interesting one. I can't see us making the move for him at this point. You know, I just think he's going to be too much of our summer budget, as good as he is. And even though you probably don't get him at this price ever again, you know, I don't know. I just can't see that deal happening, to be honest, guys. Pedro Neto in there as well. Dalu plays and starts tonight, so one to keep an eye out for there as well. And Ignacio, who a lot of you guys are always talking about, plays possibly at left back, possibly in midfield. Not too sure on that lineup. Steph says we're on 21 likes. Yeah, guys, big ups for the likes as well. Really do appreciate the support there from you guys. And yeah, look, I'm just hoping for some pretty good matches tonight. Like, I think that's ideally what we want to see. and that's ideally, hopefully, what we're going to get as well. Like, Bart said, what is England like a top class manager? While countries like Italy and Germany produce decent ones by the bucket load. I think there's decent managers from England. Like, I think Potter would do a much better job than Southgate's doing, and a lot of people wanted Potter at the time. Whenever he left Brighton to be the England manager, but ultimately he took the Chelsea job, ill-advised. Ill-advised in the long run, but I don't know, guys. I don't know who am I to say and advise Graham Potter on his career choices, but who knows. Anyways, I think we got 21 likes, guys. If we can get up to 25 by the end of the stream, would be much appreciated. Connor said Ugarte. Apparently we're signing them. Yeah, look, there's talk about Ugarte. The story is United went in with something of a testing offer. I think reading one of the stories earlier now is not confirmed by some of our more reputable sources, but they're saying 25 million was the offer from United. Apparently PSG 150. They want to get the money back from him, so I don't know. I can't see us offering 50 million for Ugarte. I think he's good, and I think he would solve some of our issues. I don't think he's necessarily the right answer as the only midfielder or as the sole midfielder. Not for the style of football we want to bring. If we want to be playing possession based, I doubt his technical skill. I think he's really, really good at destroying, breaking up play when tackles, but not for me. Bart said, Portugal are my dark horses. I don't get why Ronaldo starts every game, as it can clearly get him off the bench and have a more pressing game with Ramos up front. Same goes Silva for Pepe. Yeah, I think Pepe has been decent, but I'll listen to it, and I'll definitely listen to the Ronaldo one as well, because for me, look, he's an app. Obviously, look, I can't really say much about Ronaldo that hasn't already been said, but I think that they're fairly limited, I guess, in terms of what they can do, and I think that they're pretty limited with Ronaldo up front, just because there's not going to be the presence. There's not going to be running in behind. There's not going to be a lot of those there ones. Steph said, let's hope PSG put a bit in for Rashford. We'll see what happens, because Rashford would technically be all profit on FFP, so maybe it's something that gets considered if a massive offer comes in, but to me, I would just be surprised at it. I think it's just going to be another one of these paper talks. It's easy to link Rashford away from a story. It's easy to get those kind of stories out. Connor said Ugarte could be decent. Yeah, he could be. I think maybe in a pivot alongside Manu, maybe, but maybe. I don't know. I don't think he can be the only signing for midfield if that's what we bring in. I think, look, a realistic summer is probably going to be 2 centre halves, 2 midfielders, and a striker. I think that's most likely. Jarl said Saudi Arabia wants Garnacho 200 million. Yeah, look, he won't go. I don't think United's going to accept any bids for Garnacho in this window. There's nothing to suggest that they would, and I don't know. I feel like the Saudis can come and ask for a lot of players of us, but I just feel like Garnacho's not going to be one that we're going to let go. If they want to come take Casemiro, or they want to go take Anthony or Sancho or anybody like that, feel free, by all means, work away, guys. But cannot see them bringing in. Cannot see them getting Garnacho, to be honest, guys. That's just my thoughts. I would be very shocked. I would be very, very surprised if that does end up being the case. But who knows? Look, I live to be surprised. I live to be I live to be proved wrong. Maybe they do go in for Garnacho at 200 million, and United say yes, and Garnacho goes. But I mean, I would be beyond stunned. Look, there was talk about them going in for Mbappe last year. That never happened either, and that was just another joke, really. So for me, I don't think Garnacho's going anywhere. I think we can dismiss that story, to be honest, guys. But I think on the whole, I would expect quite a few sales. There does seem to be a lot about Casemiro potentially going to Saudi Arabia, potentially turned down one deal on the table already. So that will at least infer that there's negotiations going on there. There's interest there. There was talk about Al Nasser pushing for him at Ronaldo's request. So we'll find out how that one goes. Does look like their first priority is getting Nacho there, however, from Real Madrid. Bart said, I doubt they'll bid for Rashford, as Campos under PSG have stopped the superstar signing. They've got Mwani and Dembele and Xavi. Simon's already. Calmendo is also waiting on the wings. Yeah, look, they got players. They got Barcola as well. So I don't know. Look, I don't rate most of those players, to be fair. I don't think Kolo Muani's exceptional. I've never really thought a lot of Ousmane Dembele since he left Dortmund, but yeah, look, I can't see them breaking the bank for Marcus Rashford. I would be absolutely stunned if they end up offering 60, 70 million, because that's what it would take for United to sell him. That's United will probably look at it that it's easier to get Rashford back on form than it is to go out and buy a replacement. Steph said Manu 400 million. Yeah, probably 500. Sell Kobe Manu, get a new stadium. Maybe that's what we're gonna do. I doubt it. I doubt it though. Who knows though? Bart said I doubt if Alejandro will ever become Mbappe or Neymar's level. No, I don't think he will. He might prove me wrong. I don't think he is an absolute world-class player in the waiting or a future Ballon d'Or winner, but there's certainly a very good player in there with some real good attributes, with some real good qualities. Guys, big ups to the 3 people who've hit the sub button tonight as well. Gregory says, my opinion is to let Rashford leave. It'll be a good decision because our team and we can fight and the team will not be as selfish. Look, I think there's definitely arguments, to make about selling Rashford off another disappointing season, but it's one of those, it's like 3 out of the last 5 seasons, he scored 20 goals plus. The season before last was 30 goals. A lot of assists in the time period. He's had 2 bad seasons, but his best seasons do tend to coincide with having a summer off. So maybe this summer off could be beneficial for him. He can go and get his head in the game, go get focused and get back to work. I'm not too sure though. Bart, will Salah one day go to Saudi? There was the big offer last year as well from Saudi Arabia for Salah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do make an offer. I wouldn't be surprised if they do potentially go in for him, and Liverpool might consider it. Like if they come in genuinely with one of these mega offers that was talked about last year, 100 million plus, I think Salah's 31, 32. They're bound to consider it. Like that could fund most of a summer spending spree anyway. And that could be big for Liverpool. But look, I'm pretty hopeful that we manage to get some of the deadweight sold. I think Casemiro will be one that gets sold. Interesting developments coming in Greenwood. I will touch on that right now as well. There was talk earlier about United being prepared to keep him. I feel like that's not the truth, because I feel like we're in a position now where we can't bring Mason Greenwood back. But I do think that on the whole, what you might end up seeing is United trying to do this to encourage further bids from other clubs. We'll see how it works. We'll see how the negotiation tactics work across the summer, and if they do manage to have any progress on that there one as well. But I would expect Greenwood to be sold. I think he's pretty much nailed on at this point to be sold, probably for decent money. That all goes down in the FFP books as profit. That might be for next season, past that 1st of July barrier, and that would be kind of interesting to see how that's going to affect the rest of our transfer window. Bart said, I think Manu will have a slow start, obviously will not have a summer break. Yeah, look, I want to get him a summer break as well. That's why I would like us to buy 2 midfielders, because I don't want to run Kobe Manu into the ground. I've seen Petri struggle. I've seen Gavi struggle with their injuries from playing a lot from a very, very early age in midfield, week in, week out. And hopefully we don't get the same with Kobe Manu. Hopefully we can rest him, and hopefully we can give him breaks and, let him recover, because he is still only 19. His body isn't fully matured. He does need more time to grow in stature and grow as a player. So, it's important to manage these things. Will Saudi one day become the mecca of football? Nah, I don't see it. Like I think it is what it is. It's a certain level of football. There's a lot of money in it, but I don't know. I would be surprised, to be honest, Matata. If the Saudis ever became the best league in the world, like I can't see it. I can't see it, and one of the big reasons for that is no Champions League football, which is so big for so many players as well. And at the minute, Saudi's kind of seen as like a retirement home for some of the bigger names in football. Same as the MLS has been for many years as well. You won't see top players going there. There's a quick update as well on that story I brought you guys about Dan and Joy. So this is coming from DiMarzio himself this time. United have tested the waters for Bologna winger Dan and Joy. They've requested information regarding figures for a potential transfer. So maybe you do see another wide player brought in. I don't know. I feel like we're more likely to go for Zirkzee out of there. Do I watch tennis? Very rarely, buddy. I'll probably watch a bit of Wimbledon when it's on, but that's probably about the height of it, man. I can't see myself watching too much in the tennis world. Not my favorite sport. Like it's good, but not for me. Not for me. My sporting list will probably just go football, probably rugby, GAS in there as well. Like, don't mind a bit of UFC, whatever, but that's about it, to be honest. Not a cricket fan either. Like, so even though cricket seems to be getting pretty interesting recently, it's not for me. Like, But it is what it is. Like, I know a lot of people do love it. Connor said apparently Greenwood in pre-season, if not sold in 14 days. I think he gets sold before that, Connor. I think we'll get him out of the door pretty quickly. I feel like that's just United trying to put a pressure on the different clubs who are there looking for him. You've got Lazio, you have Juventus, Valencia. I think Napoli were potentially talked about as well. There's talk about Galatasaray in Turkey, Fenerbahce maybe as well. We're potentially linked, but I don't know. We'll find out. Steph said Zirkzee for me. Keep it Dutch. Yeah, look, we've had a lot of Dutch players under Eric Ten Hag, and it's one of those ones like, we need another one. I don't know. Doesn't matter where a player's from. I don't know. He's not playing for the Netherlands, which is interesting, but it does feel like Memphis Depay's got a chokehold in that number 9 position. And Veghorst is very much the plan B. We do have some of the official brackets anyway for the Euros next round. Some of it looks insane. You know, we've got Germany, Denmark, Portugal, Austria. No, Portugal, Hungary, sorry. France versus Belgium. Have we got Spain versus, I think that's Slovenia. I think Spain versus Slovenia as well. So some interesting matches there to be looking out for. Look, guys, I will be talking Euro 2024 tonight at 10:15 on the agenda. I think we'll leave the stream here because I'm going to go watch this Portugal match because I'm going to have to talk about it later. So I'm going to have to get myself settled in for it. Look, guys, thanks everybody's hit the sub button today. Really do appreciate everyone turning out as well. And hopefully catch everybody in the next one. Probably tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, definitely Friday. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch everyone in the next one.